Kia ora e te iwi, and welcome to The Chew.
The Chew.
Where we chew the fat off random kaupapa. Anei ahau ko taika, maua ko kori.
Kia ora.
Coming at you from the Chew Studios in Ka Muriwai.
Ka Muriwai, Arrowtown.
And today we're just going to have a random kōrero about the state of New Zealand, or current affairs, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, have a bit of a think about what's going on in the world at the moment, the world of New Zealand, the world of the Whakatipu region.
And lots going on, actually.
Lots going on, eh?
Yeah, where do we start? A big topic this week was obviously the PM, the Premier, Jacinda.
Jacinda.
Yep. Stepping down, doing what the national leader did.
That's right.
What's that, 8 years ago? Or, 2 terms?
7 years ago, yeah.
7 years, 7 years ago. John Key handing the reins down to Bill English.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
And now Jacinda handing the reins down to Chris Hipkins.
Yes.
Yep.
So, first question for you, bro. Were you a Jacinda supporter? Yeah, supporter's probably the right word.
Yeah, so when she first came into Parliament, the Labour leader, I was actually supporter of the Opportunities Party. Yeah, top. Yep, the Opportunities Party. So they actually had my votes. They had some pretty good policies that I really liked, for the country, Māori people. But, yeah, they were led by Gareth Morgan, I think it was.
That's right,
yeah,
at the time.
Yeah. He's got lots of money. He was a policy writer. Didn't like cats. So I think everyone knew him as the cat hater.
The cat guy, yeah.
Yeah. But I was more of a Labour supporter than a National supporter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
I forgot that about you, bro, that you voted for Top.
Yep.
Because I voted for Top too.
Ah!
Yeah, I know. Funny, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't voted for Labour or National in at least a decade, and probably two. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've given up on the mainstream parties. Because really at the end of the day, I don't think their focus is on the average person. I think both parties focus on corporations. But in saying that, I'm like you, bro. I was probably more of a Labour supporter than a National supporter for sure. So, yeah, I could say I was a supporter of hers, and I was quite sad that she's stepped down. Kind of angry about all the vitriol and hate that she's had to endure. Like, I don't understand the state of some people. Yeah. Like, why they need to behave like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy, eh? Mm-hmm. So, if you're an anti-vax person and you're writing some ugly comments in these down here, then, that's all right, but I don't agree with any of that kind of malarkey. So I guess, what are your hopes for old Mr. Chris Hipkins, bro?
I don't think there's much hope for him, to be honest. Well, the first thing I liked about Jacinda going in is, one, she's a female leader.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's no science behind this, but I think they're a little bit more maternal in their thinking, if that makes sense. And now we're back to a typical politician, but he's younger, if you know what I mean, because most of them that sort of take the leader outside of Helen Clark have been fairly old.
Yeah, the old crusty brigade, yeah.
And of the certain demographic.
Yeah.
Similar to the US, right?
Yeah, stale and pale, yeah.
But it's election year, so, yeah, I'll have to do my mahi, do my research.
Yeah.
I'll chuck in the comments, actually, this website my friend gave to me, which pretty much gives you short summary of each party and what their policies are.
Yeah, cool.
And just pros and cons about them.
Yeah, right.
From a non-biased view of each party.
Non-biased? Ooh, it's hard to find someone who gives a non-biased viewpoint of...
Yeah.
But then I guess if you're just putting metrics and measures, then, then feelings don't come into it. So, how are you feeling about the top party these days?
I'm not sure whether are they still running this year or yep. I haven't looked into what they're up to or who's in their party or what they're trying to do. Got the kazi or Whaia Debbie Ngā Peke, for the Māori party. Huranu Wano from home actually. They whakapapa back to Ngā Rouru. So
Awesome.
Got some ties there, and obviously your whanaunga with Matua Rawiri. I like them too because they're in there shaking up, giving it a bit of a shake
shaking
up.
stuff up, all right, eh?
Yeah, and just being unapologetic about.
Yeah, and nor should we be, really.
Yeah, their views and focus.
Yeah. I mean, I love that mahi, bro. I love all the effort that they're putting into sort of fighting for Māori issues. But this might be something we disagree on, bro, but I think the message is too aggressive for me. Like it's good for us as Māori, but it's really hard for non-Māori to buy that message and come in, join that club as well. So, but I still appreciate all the work that they do, and I appreciate that their eye is on the long-term goal, which is probably the same goal as me. The only difference is how we get there. Really. So,
what about your thoughts about the current Premier, Prime Minister, Mr. Chris Hipkins?
I mean, I don't know. I'm still not
sold.
No, I'm not. Well, they're still a major party, and they still do the bidding of corporates. They like to give off the impression that they're helping the people, and in some respects they are. I think they're probably better at it than national government will ever be. National government, well, it's not the national, but it's just that whole right-leaning people who lean towards the right are all about. They've got this thing about personal responsibility. Pick yourselves up from your bootstraps. If you're not earning, it's because you're not working hard enough. There's no excuses for any other external factors, but the reality is there's a lot of external factors that affect why people can't get ahead. And they missed that point for me. That's why I gave up. I gave up on the right as well. I used to vote for National when I was a selfish little jerk in my mid-20s, early 30s.
Who was leader? Was that Jim Bolger in those days?
No, it was after Jim Bolger, I think.
Shipley?
Yeah, around the Shipley era, and past that, there was someone else who grabbed me, and I thought, that's what I agree with that. Young people are too lazy. It's when you're in that late 20s, early 30s, you just think you've got the world all figured out, and you think anyone who doesn't have a good job is just lazy and they don't work as hard as you, and there's no other reason for it, And of course, there's plenty of other reasons why people can't get good work, and it's got nothing to do with the amount of effort that they put in. So, and the right misses that. And I think the left understands that, but they don't necessarily do a good job of making that situation better either. So, I get tired of this left versus right thing. I just want everyone to, have an easy life and have a fair tax burden. Really, that's it. But
so, do you think the phoenix will rise from the ashes this election year?
Which phoenix, bro?
Matua Winiata or what's
Nah, I think we've been burned from him enough times in the past that, sure, he's going to get some fucking 70, 80-year-olds to vote for him because they always do, and they may even hit the 5% threshold and he might end up being the kingmaker. But I just think we all know that that we all know what he brings in the games that he plays, and how much value he doesn't add to the whole political conversation. So it's a sad day. I mean, politics is sad, bro, because I personally find the majority of people they get caught up in sound bites and buzzwords,
the marketing.
Yeah, and they don't really see what's the big term, the big picture.
Yeah.
You know, they focus on things like COVID and fucking, and your freedom's been taken away and all this stuff, which is just, for me, is horseshit. And the real issue here is inequality. It's just growing. And no one's ever stopped to sort of to address that. They fight over water rights. They fight over carbon footprints, and you know, as every year that goes by, we're just getting more and more inequality happening, and that's showing through the housing market and all that kind of stuff, bro. You know, so you know, that's I think one of the obvious this region is one of the obvious places that we see the effects of all of this inequality. And what I mean by that is the price of housing here is just crazy expensive. Not just to buy, but even just to rent. It's out of control, and there's just people who can't afford to rent in this town, or there's no availability of property either, because a lot of landlords are just renting them on Airbnb rather than giving them to long-term renters instead. So it's just, there's a whole bunch of stuff that's broken, and politically we seem to be focused on shit that doesn't matter. It's my soapbox rant.
But no, you're right. You know, this region definitely shows that inequality. I think recently one of the articles in the paper was how a complex actually got turned into Airbnb, and about like 22 people lost their accommodation.
Evicted.
Who were renting.
So
that's another 22 people now all fighting for more rentals in a town that doesn't have enough. A lot of people, you know, are now being pushed out or moving to other parts of the region. Still working in Queenstown. You know, me and my wife are a testament to that. We live in Cromwell and then travel to Queenstown for mahi.
Man, that's a long commute, eh, bro?
Aye. And I'm lucky with my mahi with the flexibility they give me, but I can actually see in Cromwell now, Alexandra, Luggett, you know, those smaller towns, Kingston, are now really growing because people are just willing to make that commute because the living's a lot cheaper and more affordable. Friends of ours of Claire, she's built a house out of Ethel, you know, and Ethel is even further away than Kingston. So it's roughly about an hour's drive from Queenstown, heading south. Little rural community, but you know, it was really affordable for her to build a house there, because it sure ain't affordable to build a house anywhere close to Queenstown. Well, when I'm up in Rotorua, so I go up there for work, maybe every second month. I usually go to Pick and Save and check out all the specials. Because they've got the real deal Pick and Save
specials,
up there. Yeah. And the cost of everything is way cheaper. Cheaper. Everything.
Oh.
Like when I'm looking at mints there, I'm like, what? It's only $9.95 a kilo, you know, which is still expensive. Coming here and you're like, $18 a kilo for mints. Oh.
And petrol.
Crazy. Petrol. Man.
We just get screwed down here, eh?
I
mean, I'm lucky. Well, you and I are lucky. We own our own homes and we're in good jobs, so you know it's a bit easier for us to cover our costs and stuff. But you know, young people trying to get ahead when you just spend all your money on accommodation,
and shelter, right?
And then even after that, when it's time to go and buy some food, even the food is crazy expensive. So you know, it's sort of, I don't know. I kind of feel like we need a revolution at some point, bro. But I think Kiwis are going to be late to the party when it comes to the revolution, because we, generally speaking, we're just kind of like, we just get on with it kind of people. We don't like to complain about how little we've got. But you look at European countries, man, they pick it. They get out there on the streets and they clog up the highways, and they make their message well known. But Kiwis don't really do that a lot. No.
And that's why New Zealand lamb's cheaper in Europe than it is in New Zealand.
Crazy, man.
Oh, my mate sent me a photo of some lamb chops over there, which was like a quarter of the price of New Zealand lamb, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I know.
What? That thing come over on a container?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I used to live in China, we used to buy AFCO meat from New Zealand, and we used to buy big boxes of tenderloin. Man, and it was the equivalent of about $200 New Zealand, and this thing was just loaded with probably, I don't know, maybe 10 kgs worth of tenderloin. So it was just
AFCO meat.
Yeah, AFCO, the good stuff, man.
Yep.
So
shout out to all the cuzzies
Yeah.
at the AFCO Meat Works.
yeah, and we would we'd buy a tenderloin and mince it, because they don't have mince over there. Like there's not like all this meat lying around like there is in New Zealand. So they never had any mince in this Chinese place where we lived. So we would buy New Zealand tenderloin and we'd mince it.
Wow.
And we'd eat it because it was just like, oh, well, it's so cheap, we might as well just make it into mince.
Minced tenderloin.
Yeah. And it wasn't for us, really. That was for the kids, because the kids wouldn't eat steak. So if it was for me, I wouldn't mince it. I'd eat the steak. But because we had to feed the kids, you'd mince it, and it's easier for them to eat it. Yeah, crazy, man.
Cost of living, very topical, though. Very topical.
Yeah.
I think that's on Chris Hipkins' #1 hit lists, I think.
Well, I'll believe that when it actually turns into something tangible. I'm tired of those major parties talking about what they're going to do, and they do fuck all. So
empty promises.
Yeah. It's just tired of it. Like, I don't bother listening to them anymore. It's so I'm still voting for Top.
Yep. Yep.
Because I still believe in everything that they. All of their policies would be the policies that could address all of this really quickly. But the reality is New Zealand is not ready for the kind of change that the Top party needs to happen, and a lot of it is around not just taxation, a fair tax system, but it's also around how we hold people to account who have valuable assets. Like if your property's worth X amount of money, you should be paying for the or the theoretical profit that has been created over a couple of years' time. So it's a hard pill to swallow, but really it's the only fair way to make sure that we tax people accordingly. And I don't mind paying the extra, because if you look at it from a UBI point of view, we'd end up making more money out of it anyway as individuals. Anyway, I won't get drowned in the whole politics thing, because that's a rabbit hole.
I wonder if the Prime Minister's stepping out before the end of the term, bringing in their deputies or re-electing a new Prime Minister, is actually like a tactic, because like I said, John Key did that, and now Jacinda done that, and obviously it could have been because they both needed to get out or have a rest or whatever they said, but they're thinking it from a business perspective too, and how to try and get re-elected again. They've now both done it, so is that like a tactic to maybe say, hey, if I step out early, try and bring someone in new, they can try and market themselves before that election, try prove themselves to the nation rather than them trying to prove themselves straight off the bat?
That's a big Hail Mary, eh? That's a big one. Yeah. I personally don't believe that's the case, but I can see the argument for how it could be. Yeah. Well, it didn't end up working out for John Key, so I'm not convinced that that's a good example of how it might work for Labour. Yeah. No, I think to my kind of disappointment, I think I have to admit that National's probably going to be in power at the next election. And then we're going to have to suffer through at least one or two more terms of what national government does to this country. So, which is, hoard money for the wealthy, give tax cuts for the wealthy, cut the programs that help the poor and disadvantaged, and and keep blaming beneficiaries for all the woes of New Zealand. It just gets tired.
And saying that, talking about beneficiaries in Queenstown, actually, I'm sure, and I need to fact check this, so don't hold me to account to it, whānau, is that I think this area is one of the only or few areas where we have minimal people on the unemployment benefit here.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I remember about 5 or 6 years ago, there were 2 people who were pretty much unemployable. So we had a couple of people were, I wouldn't say living on the street, because they actually had places that they were living in, but were, I suppose, what we called homeless in Queenstown.
Yeah.
Or the unemployable, as they call it. But I'm not sure whether that's still the case here. But with the amount of jobs going, in the area. But it doesn't surprise me, because if we sort of go back to that housing discussion, there's tons of jobs out there for people, lots of mahi, but there's nowhere for people
to live.
Yeah.
So we're in I don't think I would call it quite unique environment, because I think we're going to see this more and more throughout the rest of New Zealand.
Yep.
This problem of having jobs but having nowhere to live. So you're right. You're right about that. I do believe that is the case, that Queenstown has one of the lowest rates of unemployment, and for obvious reasons. There's so much work here, and the work pays fairly well, but it's kind of pointless if your accommodation is overpriced. Yeah.
Well, it's so tight here. Well, like it is around the rest of Aotearoa.
Yeah.
Because they're all having resourcing issues.
Yeah.
No matter where you go.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of companies are now doing incentives. If you get a friend who stays for 6 months, then you'll get a 4 or 5 grand bonus. A lot of places here will offer ski passes now. Yep. So come and work for us. We'll pay for your ski pass for the year, which is, I think it's about maybe $1,200.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the pull if you're a young person, You don't go to uni, or you've just finished uni, you want to have a bit of a 1 or 2 year break, so you come here, maybe work on the lifts, do something fun.
Yeah.
For a couple of years, get your free ski pass, hammer it up the maunga, have a few inus in town or wherever. But you don't mind, sharing a room with 2 or 3 others, in a bunked room, or, living it hard for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But beyond that, it starts to get a lot more difficult, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of some good housing initiatives that are out there, community trust housing and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of my workmates where I work, he managed to buy one of those new cheap properties. I can't quite remember the price. I think it was around 500,000 something, 500,000, which for a 2-bedroom unit, I think, was a very good price in this region.
Yeah, in this region,
because I think the average house price is over $1 million. It's about $1.5 million, I think. Yeah. So it's really hard. Yeah.
1 million. You win the lotto, and you're still probly shortchanged.
Yeah.
You got to win the Powerball, not the lotto.
Yeah. You win the lotto, you still can't buy a house in Queenstown.
I've got to get a mortgage still.
Oh, it's crazy, man. Yeah.
Oh, I remember the good old days where you always say, if I won lotto, I'll only do this and do that, because it was about $1 million, back in the days. And that was a lot.
Yeah.
Where now $1 million, you're like, you still got 100,000 to owe on your house.
I know.
And pay the lawyers. Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But we've got a friend, me and my wife got a friend, did the same. They were the first people into that housing trust scheme here, which was really good. And I think theirs was low to middle falls, 2-bedroom home. Yep, for them, which has been really awesome for them. So if you're not aware of the scheme, the trust or whoever organises it usually owns the land.
Yeah, that's right.
And you just buy the house off them and then just pay that sort of annual
lease
fee.
Yeah.
But I think you're still given like a 50-year lease or maybe something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I know the deal that I heard is that you can't sell privately. You have to sell. If you decide you don't want to be there anymore, you have to sell back to the trust that you bought it off.
Yep.
So
they keep it affordable.
Yeah, so it stops people from just buying to make make a profit and then flicking it off the first chance they get. No, the contract is it has to be sold back to the trust who sold it to you the first time. So the idea is to put people into long-term housing forever, basically. And if that suits you, then that type of accommodation is a great idea. Yeah, if you're in it just to buy and flick off houses, that's well, you're not allowed to. That's the main thing. So and it goes against the whole cause of the community housing trust. But bit of stuff in the news, far out. So
well, at least for Jacinda, going back to her, one, she can go get married.
Yeah,
because I think she's had it off for like 2 or 3 years, like a lot of people. But man, all I think about, whether it's her, Chris, Jonky, or whoever in there, I'm like, man, you're on call 24/7, 24/7. She just had tamariki too, so
yeah. I mean, John Key had the same problem. He copped a lot of flack from the public. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, but I'm not going to wish the guy to be run over by a truck or anything. But it's just the amount of just flat out fucking lunacy that goes on out there in terms of the harm that they want to come to these people. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
They're just people doing a job and doing the best that they can, and if it's a shit job, it's a shit job. But let it go, man. You don't have to kill them for it. Fuck.
Probably just like any workplace, right?
Yeah.
Got people in
Yeah.
any workplaces doing shit jobs. They could be McDonald's. They could be, for a large construction company, accounting firm. Everyone has those people that do shit jobs or make terrible calls.
Yeah. Yeah, but you don't want to break their kneecaps for doing it. Jesus.
Still got a family, to go back to, look after.
Yeah, they're human after all. But if you listen to some of these people who have swallowed the wrong pill, then the new world, they're puppets of the new world order, and they're trying to mass medicate all of us. And for fuck. It's just like, no, they're just politicians who are really bad at their job. That's it. It's pretty simple, really. And so it'll be a bit of a shame to see her go, I suppose. But I don't know. I'm just all about the smaller parties having a little bit more say in everything. Just wish we wouldn't have these one major party that just decides everything. Yeah.
Well, he's now CEO of ANZ too, John Key.
Yeah. Well.
Big CEO of ANZ, and what do they have? Like some $2 billion or $3 billion profit. Need to fact check that. Not 100% sure, but it was something ridiculous.
No, it's crazy. I don't know
in
why.
A tough year, in a tough 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why New Zealanders put their money into Australian or Canadian-owned banks. That defies belief to me. Like, people complain about the money that goes offshore, but all of their bank accounts are with these overseas-owned businesses. That was sold off by the National Party. Fuck's sakes. Yeah. Anyway.
So, Jacinda, if you're looking for a celebrant, hit me up. You just need to plug it into the celebrant's search page and you'll get me. So, I'll give you a good rate too. And when I mean good rate, Queenstown price.
Yeah. Get old Clark to take you out fishing, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's shouting. Poor old Māori boy, struggling down here,
Come on, Clark, help a bro out. I'm from Gizzy, man. Come on.
I'll bring the beers. Yeah, I'll bring the flames.
It's the other thing I like about New Zealand, bro, is that as just like a bumhole citizen that I am, that we are, our politicians are approachable, Yeah. Well, they fucking should be anyway.
Yeah.
We should be able to just talk to them and go, hey, you're like everyone else in this country, man. You put your fucking pants on one leg at a time. So you ain't any better than me.
Yeah, you're still caca like the... When I mean caca, you still poo like the rest of us in the toilet.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
they probably use 4-ply instead of, the 2-ply that we got, but,
yeah. So I hope New Zealand never loses that whole...
keep it Kiwi vibe.
Yeah, that not tall poppy, but it's just that no one's above the rest of us. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, testament to that is bloomin' Stephen Adams, right? Holy moly.
Yeah.
You know, don't know him personally, but, from what I hear and see, Americans are blowing up about how he rocks up to the All-Star game in his hunting and fishing
outfits.
Camo gear, where everyone else is wearing Versace suits, that probably cost about, $8,000 or whatever, and here he is.
He wears his slip-ons, and bare feet, walks around in bare feet in the winter.
Yeah.
Like classic Kiwi, man.
And they blew up on social media about it when, I think he went to a restaurant, was it over there, or here or somewhere, and he finished his kai and then took his dishes off.
Oh, yeah, that was at the Koru Club in New Zealand. Yeah, when he took his dishes up after he'd finished eating. Yeah.
And that's nothing out of the blue, right?
No, that's the kind of thing that we all do,
Yeah. If it's a decent kai and I've been well looked after, then I'll be like, I'll bloody sort that out for them.
I mean, I like doing that in restaurants and even in KFC. If they give me a decent sized piece of chicken, I'll take my shit up, and I'll fucking throw my rubbish away and
squash it all in the rubbish bin that hasn't been cleaned out,
and I'll do the old goodbye.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a quick story, bro. Day before yesterday, went to McDonald's. They gave me a fucking drumstick as my piece of chicken. I was livid, man. I was so livid. I was so livid. You know what I did? I left my rubbish on the table and I walked out. I went, I am not putting my rubbish in the rubbish bin for you guys. You've crossed the line here.
The foot is down.
Yeah.
The foot's down. That's enough. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
That's what you got to ask.
I know. I told Caroline, I should have done Taika's trick. She's like, what's that? Like, you always ask for a thigh or ask for a big piece of chicken. Yeah. But don't ask. If you don't ask, then you could expect a wing,
Yep, they're going to throw it in there.
Yeah. I would have flipped out if they'd given me a wing. I would have actually gone back and said something. The drumstick, I was just pissed off, but I still ate it. Yeah.
Oh, but that's me every time. Thigh combination, extra seasoning. Yep.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
So, yeah.
Expectations set.
Yeah. No, I need to learn my lesson, bro. Thank you. I need to be more forceful about what I order at KFC. And Caroline was trying to pick her rubbish up and put it in the bag. I'm like, no. I like put it down and leave the boxes separate here. Leave paper bag there. Put your cup over there. Just leave it all there.
Oh.
So and the guy said goodbye when I left, and I just went like this, bro.
Poor fella. Yeah. Oh.
I'm like, you don't know how much you've upset me by putting a drumstick in my box.
It was probably Roland, was it? Roland?
No, it was a new guy.
Oh, okay.
All the other guys know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a new guy. That's why I knew he hasn't learned yet. Yeah. So anyway, bro, I guess that finishes our the state of New Zealand on on a more joyful note, I suppose.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. So if you've got any issues you want to add in there, whānau, if there's anything you want to, any comments you want to leave in there for us, you definitely may not agree with our views around any of that, which we're happy to, chuck a comment in there.
Yeah, chuck a comment in there.
Keep it PC,
Yeah.
But we're happy to have people that disagree with our views.
Yeah. So, because we're on the fence here. We're not Labour, we're not National, so don't hate us because we don't like either of them. That we should be celebrated now, right? So, yeah.
Queensland, New South Wales,
Yeah. No, we're being Victoria in that little...
WA.
Yeah, WA. Yeah.
Because I think for some weird reason Victoria slots into Queensland, I think.
Nah.
Is that Melbourne? Is Melbourne Victoria?
Melbourne's Victoria, yeah. But Queensland's its own state.
Oh, yeah.
New South Wales is its own state,
Yep.
But you're right. Like Victoria is part of that whole what do you call it? Is part of that whole competitive thing.
Yeah.
But Western Australia probably less so. Yeah. Or Tasmania.
Anyway, whānau, hit us a like, subscribe, share us around to the whānau. leave us some comments about, what you want us to talk about. And we'll catch you next time on The Chew. Mā te wā.
Mā te wā.